Woo, the Golden Stallion, the man of tomorrow, Savzu, the rated R radio star, here once again for, this is something, I used to say that this would be rare, but it's becoming less and less rare. I've got another little piece of hardware review. I love reviewing hardware and getting knee deep into that stuff through all the various aspects of tech. Of course, I mean, what hardware today really isn't tech? I'm sure there's got to be a smart hammer somewhere. Someone had to have put a sensor and, a BLE chip into, Bluetooth chip into a hammer somewhere, and somehow it's interconnected. I can only imagine that that has to exist, but maybe it doesn't. But anyway, something that I was waiting for to exist is the, all right, let me give a little background. So what we have here, what we're reviewing, you already know what it is by the title, okay? So me doing any kind of like mysterious lead up isn't going to do jack shit. But we have the Under Armour Sport Wireless Train Project Rock Edition headphones. That is a mouthful, okay? And let's be clear that part of that mouthful probably come 2019 or even later in 2018 as we get close to the holidays won't be there. That being the Project Rock Edition part, okay? Because these are a limited edition set of headphones. They are headphones that you can get right now, or that you can pre-order right now. They initially came out end of June, and I got my pair. These are not cheap headphones, let's be very clear on that, but you can now pre-order the second round of them because they sold out within a day or two. But you can get, and I ordered mine, like I was ready. The Rock, and we're talking about Dwayne Johnson, yes, the wrestler / actor, highest paid actor in the world right now, I think. The Rock was saying on Instagram, he gave like a notification about a week ahead of time saying, look, at 8 a.m. Eastern, and I think it was like June 28th or something, these are going to come out. And of course I was ready for it. And I was up at I got mine at like 7:56 a.m. Eastern because they ended up putting them up just a couple minutes early. So that was kind of nice. But anyway, these will probably, what I was going to say is these will probably in the next few months, you'll end up with ones that aren't Project Rock Edition. It'll just be the UA Sport Wireless Train headphones. And any difference with them, so one of the things that anything that The Rock puts out there, he puts his little Brahma bull, the bullhead symbol on them. And so when these are no longer the Project Rock Edition, they probably won't have that bull symbol on them, and they'll just put the Under Armour symbol there. Or maybe if they're going to get it with some, do a contract with some other athlete or something, maybe their symbol will go on it. I mean, for one thing, it certainly says, as far as branding, the importance of having a symbol. Of course, I have a symbol that I've been using for years on Sovereign Tech. I have a couple of them, actually. Probably the one best known. I'm not so well known for the Omega symbol being used, but I think a lot of people like my, what looks a lot like the Superman symbol with some little differences, like it has a pyramid on it and everything. Most people remember that as like kind of the classic Sovereign Tech symbol, which I'll probably go back to using that in the very near future, but we're not here to talk about that. So anyway, in fact, I know there are kids out there who think that when they see the Superman symbol, believe it or not, when they talk to their parents, they think that stands for sovereign. I'm not kidding. I know that they're out there. I've heard about it. And I'm very, of course, that means the world to me. But anyway, beyond honored, and I don't deserve that kind of recognition, or certainly not by kids. But regardless, so The Rock was, while he hyped them a week previous to when they actually went on sale. So I've been using these for, well over a month, or about a month now, I guess. Because they came like right away. It wasn't the 28th. I think it was like the 23rd. Because I think I've been using these about a month. And I think and considering the amount of time I go to the gym, that's a good amount of time to use these, because I literally work out 7 days a week. Most of the time, unless it's like a rest week, which that only happens every 2-3 months. I am working out literally 7 days a week, usually with weights. Sometimes I've changed things up recently where I do yoga once a week. But anyway, these headphones have been put through their paces inside of a month. Now, they were being put through their paces for about a year or two before they actually got released by The Rock himself. And he would share pictures on Instagram of him using them while training. And again, he was doing this for over a couple of years, saying, I'm putting them through their paces, can't wait to release these to you. And then finally he ends up releasing them. Now, considering on Instagram just how good he looked, because this is kind of the first thing to get into with these headphones, okay, before we even get into the tech specs of them. This is an important aspect for me. Considering that The Rock is this guy that's 6'4", it looks like he has a fairly big head, etc., whatever. Okay, considering that he looked good wearing them, and I don't mean because he's jacked and whatever. I mean because they look good on his head, is really the main reason I wanted these, because I am a big guy. Now I'm 6'1". I'm not even as tall as The Rock. Some of my other measurements might get close to matching him, but anyway, I kind of have a big head. Not like it's not disproportionate, but to the rest of my body, thankfully, because I'm a big guy. But I have a big head, and I like when I buy a hat, it's really a roll of the dice whether or not. Like when I find a great cap, I buy multiple amounts, or I buy a bunch of that same cap, because I know how hard it is for me to find a hat. And so when I find one that fits really well, I want to make sure I have it for some years, and I do that over and over again. Okay, and that goes for a lot of things. But anyway, because it looked good on his head, and I have a hard time finding headphones that actually look good on my head, shall we say. Like the best ones I had before this, as far as Bluetooth headphones, and these are Bluetooth headphones, were the Plantronics Backbeats that I did a review of on a Patreon Q&A. That was over a year ago, because I've had those for a while. But those were getting a little long in the tooth, my Plantronics, and they're still my favorite style of headphones. If I could get an updated version of those that use like Bluetooth 4.1 or 4.2 instead of Bluetooth 3.0, which creates some problems with certain devices, I would just buy another one of those. I would have never messed with these Project Rock ones. But anyway, I needed a new pair of headphones. And so I went with these. Okay. Now, and again, part of it was because they looked good on The Rock, like size-wise. So I figured, okay, if they look good on The Rock, they're going to look pretty good on me. And overall, I'm very pleased with how they look. They look better when I am wearing a hat with them. But they don't look, because what'll happen is, like with a lot of headphones that I wear, the ear cuffs, will just, or the band that holds the ear cuffs will just be stretched the complete opposite way. I mean, it's so bad. It's really, really tough. I've never had, it's been tough for me to get a great pair of gaming headphones my entire life because of that. I'm a bigger guy. I mean, and I wouldn't trade anything. Like I wouldn't, to have nice headphones, I wouldn't want a smaller head at all because honestly, I'm just going to call it straight. I think my size is, it's been an advantage for me, both in business, in romance, and in all kinds of things. So, I'm not complaining at all, but it is a challenge. So when I got them, that was the first thing I had to see. I didn't even check out the sound. I didn't see, connect them to anything. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to put them on my head and I want to see how I look in them. And I put them on my head and it looks good. I'm like, all right, yeah, no, that's acceptable. I still like a much lighter headphone. Okay, and I like headphones these aren't noise canceling. They do not have noise canceling technology, but they more or less block out most of the noise around you just because of the way that the ear cuffs are. I actually don't like that. I like where there's a more open ear and I can hear what's going on around me. That's pretty important to me. But because of the other advantages to these headphones, that's like the one thing I let slide. Okay, that probably be, but that's subjective, right? Because there's lots of people who love to have the noise completely disappear from around them. For me, that's a subjective thing. I'm not going to, give it points against them for doing that. In fact, actually, people are give points against these headphones because they are a really premium priced product and they don't have noise canceling. Because any other headphones that cost in this range, and again, we're talking about over $200. Depending upon which edition I guess you're going to get, they should have noise canceling because most other headphones in that range do. But I'm okay that they don't. So anyway, let's keep going with reviewing and talking about what these headphones do. I talked about them briefly on a recent Sovereign Tech Prime episode, but this is the full breakdown that you're getting for patrons only. Now, what's interesting, while they don't have noise canceling, they do have this kind of new technology. I don't know how unique it is exactly because I'm not that much of a headphone connoisseur, only because usually I have to just accept whatever headphones I happen to get, and I'm getting them because that way they can fit my head. Um, anyway, so they have, I think it's called Tapatalk, or maybe it's not Tapatalk. Tapatalk is a that's something. Talk through. That's what it's called. Tapatalk. That's a web technology. Talk through technology they call it, which means that now on each side of the actual drivers of the speakers on these headphones, there is that Brahma bull symbol of the rock that I told you about. And on the right hand side, which actually has all of the, on the right cuff side, which has all of the controls for this, which is kind of weird, like because there's certain controls I would like to be able to skip tracks and do some other things with it. And they really could have put other controls on the other side of on the other cuff of the headphones. But they didn't do that. But anyway, you can press the little Brahma bull symbol on it and it will turn down the volume on the music and it activates the microphone. As far as I can tell, it must do this because of the way that the sound comes through once you hit it. It activates the microphone, and so that way you don't have to take your headphones off and you can hear whatever anybody is saying, okay, to you. Like say you're at the gym or whatever. And you can hear what the person is saying, and it works pretty well. There's some weird background noise that you'll get involved with it because of the microphone, I guess, and the way that it's doing everything. But that functionality is kind of cool, and I think it works. And if these had noise canceling, it'd be almost required, to have that kind of thing. So that's a very unique idea that I think Under Armour was kind of brilliant to come up with. Certainly one of the major selling points of this. Now, as far as, we'll get into the sound in a minute. So understand that these were made in conjunction with JBL. And JBL, of course, has a long and rich history. I think JBL was bought out by Harman Kardon, though. But anyway, JBL, whatever, has a long and rich history of great audio. I remember a lot of buddies, back in the 90s when, putting a sound system in your car was a big deal. A lot of people bought JBL subwoofers and everything. Of course, I always bought JL audio and like Rockford Fosgate amps and everything. But JBL's got, they've been around. And are they the ones that do or no, that's Monster that does the pill. Anyway, they're well known. They're known for their, great sound and all that shit. So, but let's talk a little bit more about the tech behind this thing. They do have an IPX4 rating. So these are not waterproof, but they are very sweat proof. And you can remove the ear cuffs, the pads to wash them, to just hand wash them. That way you can clean them. All of that's nice and really, should be, anytime you have larger headphones of this type, should be a deal anyway. So I was, pleased with that, and I've sweat in them quite a few times, and it actually kind of keeps. It also has the band on the top. If I'm not wearing a hat at the time, the band at the top does a good job of keeping the sweat off me or keeping the sweat on the head and collecting it anyway. So these are really nice as far as that goes. It's good for them to have that IPX4 rating, and they're pretty tough. I haven't done a drop test or anything, but you can feel them, and they feel very, very rugged. They do have a pretty premium feel, in my opinion. I mean, they are more or less all plastic, except for certain parts of the band, but the headband of it. But I think that works out very well. So I mean, when you're paying a premium price, do these have an absolute premium feel? Absolutely, and they are tough fucking headphones. So and I've never really had a problem where my ears felt hot. They have some kind of super vent ear cushions so that you stay cool. And by and large, that's been my experience. That I do feel pretty cool as I wear them. Battery life. So again, these are Bluetooth headphones. Okay, the battery life on them is incredible. The battery life is 16 hours, and I haven't exactly put that to the test in one shot. That'd be a hell of a workout session. But over time, I've only charged them a couple times. I mean, it's really, I'm amazed at that 16-hour limit. Now, I have gotten them down to 0. And what they have is they actually have a speed charge where when you plug them in, they go inside of 5 minutes. So you get an hour's worth of music. And I did test that out, and that's absolutely true. That claim is completely accurate. So that's nice. And they are using Bluetooth 4.1, so I haven't had any real compatibility issues as far as that goes. But even if I did, and this is one of the nicer parts of these, and one of actually another major selling point for me, just outside of the size, is that you can use these with either Bluetooth, or it has a connector on the bottom where you can plug in a 1/8, has a 1/8 jack in the bottom. and you can get a double-ended, 1/8 cord, and you can use them with just about any device, just plugging them in hardwire. I think that's awesome. I know they're not unique in having that ability, but I think that's fucking great that they have it, because that makes them very handy for when I'm using my Oculus Go, for when I'm playing my Nintendo 3DS or whatever else. Because beforehand I'd have to, or even if I'm like connecting to my H6 or to my computer, even though the computer wouldn't have a problem because that has Bluetooth with it. But some of these devices, like my H6, like my 3DS, like the Oculus Go, do not have Bluetooth audio connectability. So to be able to connect with a physical 1/8 jack is awesome. And it does come with the cord, and the cord comes with the little inline controls and everything for it too, which is really nice. It also comes, of course, with the way that you charge it is through a micro USB. It is not USB-C. I mean, that's okay, but it's a micro USB cord that comes with it. And it comes in a really nice case, a very tough case that you can like clip onto a bag and everything, which that's cool. So you can keep all your cords with you, whenever you need them and everything. And it's in a, really, really safe case. I case everything. I know I've said this many times on Cyber Tech, but I literally put all of like my, not even just my important electronics. I put everything in a case. So it's nice to just be able to, if I want to, just carry around one pair of headphones that are adaptable to whatever device I happen to need to use them for. And they do a great job as far as that goes. So, yeah, so the hard case is pretty nice as far as that goes. I mean, I guess now we can just get into this. Well, with the controls, all right, here's something. Now, the Plantronics Backbeat headphones, which are like a quarter of the size of these and are, flexible and everything. It doesn't have the big headband. They're not over the ear headphones. They kind of side ear, into your ear. The Plantronics, like, they'll speak to you. They'll tell you how much time you have left on the battery. I mean, like, that's really, really nice. For a premium set of headphones, I am going to knock it for, it really only uses little sound notifications to let you know when they're powered on. I mean, there's a blue light to tell you that they're powered on too, but to let you know that they're powered on, or to tell you when they're pairing, or to tell you when they're being turned off. And when you have something as simple as those Plantronics Backbeats that can do so much more, that can talk to you and all that, and tell you, the status of what's happening. Is it pairing? Is it doing this? It explains all that. I thought that was kind of weak. I mean, it's not a huge deal. It's easy to understand what's going on, but at the same time, when we're talking about, especially the fact that these cost at least double, if not more, than the Plantronics do. I mean, I just feel like that's kind of weak, that they can't do that. But, the nice thing with a lot of Bluetooth headphones and with these, headphones that are programmable is you can get updated firmware for them that maybe will allow for that. Because when the Plantronics Backbeats originally came out, they couldn't talk to you either. But then they came out with a firmware update that did allow for it. So maybe there will be a firmware update. I'll have to keep an eye out for that to see if it gives it any new functionality. But the controls on it, very basic. You can pause. There's that talk through control that I talked about. There's a volume up and down, and they're nice big buttons, which that's kind of nice when you're in a gym setting, that the controls are kind of oversized. I do wish it had skip and back functionality, and I assume if you use these for calls, which is something I haven't done yet, you can use the same buttons that do volume and all that to hang up and answer a phone call. And it's designed with the mic. It's designed to work with Google Assistant or Siri if you need it to. So, I mean, and that's not a shock. Most headphones, even the cheapest headphones, can really do that. So not a big surprise there. But anyway, so all of that said, let's talk a little bit about the sound. The sound quality, honestly, is incredible. A little bassy, like definitely programmed for bass. And if you watch The Rock's videos where he's working out in what he calls the Iron Paradise, I need to come up with a name for well, right now we just call it the Murphy's Gym, because it's Stephanie's gym downstairs. I want to come up with some kind of name with iron in it, even though I know the word iron can be problematic. I'll think of it more in a little more of a Roman sense and the workout sense. But anyway, when you see The Rock working out in the Iron Paradise, you often hear him listening to hip hop, rap, that sort of thing. So I think they're pretty clearly programmed for that, as to where I am much more the metalhead, or even I'll listen to soundtracks, or obviously when I work out, I'll also listen to podcasts or audiobooks if I'm, if that's tickling my fancy. it does great for all of that. Like, even though it's pretty clear they're meant for like pop or hip hop or something like that, it plays it, especially a lot of like 80s metal. A lot of 80s metal didn't have the bass turned up in the way that metal more so does now. So the increased bass actually allows for metal, especially classic metal or hard rock, melodic hard rock, whatever you want to call it, if that helps you understand better what I'm listening to. That really gives it like that extra punch that it should have in the first place and that it needs. So I don't mind. Now, if you want to mess with the equalizer settings on your smartphone or something when you have it connected, that doesn't hurt either. Like if you're using Lineage OS, I'll set the equalizer for rock, and then then it sounds even better. But just raw with no equalizer EQ changing, these headphones sound phenomenal. And they sound great whether you've got them plugged in hardwire or you've got them on Bluetooth. I mean, it's really, it's a very rich, very deep sound that comes out of them. Working with JBL, obviously, I think they call it JBL charged sound or something. That's delivering, okay? And The Rock did say that he was not only putting them through toughness tests, but like, does the sound the way that he likes it? So you're really getting, and that's another feature that if you don't get the Project Rock Edition version of these Under Armour Train headphones, they might have a little bit of a different sound tweaking to them, because again, these are tweaked specifically to what The Rock, listens to and how he likes it. Well, we can share similar enjoyment of how we like to tweak our sound, because I always turn the bass way up anyway, even on like the EQ for like on Lineage OS, or if I'm using an equalizer app on more stock Android or something, I will often turn up the bass by like 25 to even 50% on just about anything I'm listening to. So this is really nice. In fact, I was listening to today. Yesterday, I was putting them through the paces in an actual gym. Okay, not just the downstairs gym, but in an actual gym, and it was phenomenal. Because there were just tons of kids in this gym, like in this one part of this gym. And I mean, they were making all the noise in the world. I couldn't hear them at all. Like, I put these headphones on, I couldn't hear shit. It was just me and the weights. And that was really, really nice, even though they're not noise canceling. And even though normally I don't like that, in this situation, it really helped to not have to hear all those screaming children. I mean, I'm glad that there's kids there having a great time and having fun, and they were. I think that's beautiful. I'm not complaining about that. But like, when I'm working out, I really need to concentrate. When you're putting hundreds of pounds over your head, it's a good idea to be paying attention to what's going on and to, really be insular about it. So, that really helped. But I was listening to actually Hailstorm, one of my favorite bands, and Lizzie Hale is just, oh, fuck. So hot, so wonderful. Just one of the people out there. She is really spreading the heat and, the message of hedonism, and I love her for it. But anyway, I was listening to the new Hailstorm album, Vicious, which technically doesn't come out for another day or so. I think the official release date is July 27th. Oh man, did that album punch. And that is a great album. Maybe I got to listen to it a couple more times. It's still not as good as Into the Wild, which was their last album from 2015. But fuck, is Vicious a great album. Track for track, every song's awesome. There's one song on there, though, in particular. In fact, I shared a little screenshot of me listening to it on Instagram. And that is Do Not Disturb is the song. Best song on the album, in my opinion. One of the best songs they've ever done. I'm probably going to put it in my top 3 songs that they do. I love this song. I love Hailstorm, but I love this song. It is my kind of, and when you listen to the lyrics, the lyrics are what make it. Listen to the lyrics. You're going to know exactly why that's my brand, baby. Why that's my song. Because it's fucking great. It's spreading the right message, in my opinion. Woo! So I was very pleased. But yeah, anyway, so the sound is phenomenal, regardless, I think, of what you're listening to. Audiobooks sound great. I was listening to Star Wars Thrawn Alliances by Timothy Zahn on here, and that all sounded very rich, very beautiful. Thrawn sounded very foreboding. So does Vader. I mean, it was really cool in that book. Podcasts, I listen to myself in them, and I'm very pleased with how it sounds. Actually, kind of shows how crappy it can. Like right now, I'm recording on location, and I'm using a Logitech webcam mic at the moment. I don't have my H6 out, but I can kind of hear where that doesn't sound as okay as I thought it sounded when I listen to it, say on more on something like earbuds or something like that. Um, but anyway, but they're that good. I mean, that's how great a sound you're in pure sound. Well, it's not so pure because there's a lot of bass added in, but otherwise, how pure a sound and that you're getting out of them. So very pleased with these. I recommend them honestly without reservation. The only reservation is the price. I think. I Any of the major issues. I mean, they're kind of minor, like the notifications on it. That's kind of a minor issue in my opinion. Um, and I don't like. I actually, I want to be able to hear things going on around me, even though when I was in the gym recently, I didn't want to hear what was around me. So again, that's a subjective thing. So I'm not really going to knock points against it for that. But otherwise, I think these are awesome. They fold up beautifully into a very small package. Very easy for me to bring them to the gym. If I'm going to an actual gym and not just working out downstairs, and just a tremendous sound. Again, big advantage is that it can be Bluetooth or it can be connected through hardline. And yeah, I mean, other than those two little things, and those are really little things, I have no complaints about them. Just, you might not want to put forward the price for that. And honestly, when they come out with the non-Project Rock Edition versions of these headphones, they're probably going to be in a much nicer price range because they're not going to have the signature of the rock. They're not going to have the rock symbol on it and blah, blah, blah. So if you want to wait for that, go for it. But I do understand the philosophy behind these headphones. And they are the first of their kind. And that's part of why I wanted to get them and why I think it's worthwhile to do a review is because the purpose of these headphones, okay, this is the point to close it out with. The purpose is they are meant for weightlifters. Now, headphones generally aren't made for weightlifters. They're made more for runners. They're made more for all different kinds of sports where people will make headphones to do that sort of thing. But no one ever really thought about what about, headphones specifically for weightlifters that, can really handle all that, stay on you, and potentially, handle getting dinged against a dumbbell or something, whatever. Okay. And that excited me too, because, I weightlift 7 days a week. And they stand up to that. Like I think that they do well with the purpose that they were built for. And I think it's pretty cool that things are getting made or electronic devices are getting made specifically for that type of athlete. Okay. For that type of sportsman, and bodybuilding is a sport. So I like that a lot. And The Rock is one of the people that can just bring that sort of thing on, right? I mean, he is literally a cultural phenomenon that, it's interesting. I mean, the CEO of Under Armour came out and said The Rock is like, I mean, you slap his name on anything and you're guaranteed to sell out. And so far that's been true. Just about. I mean, and his movies have been doing, I mean, he's been very selective in when he puts out his movies to where there isn't much in the way of competition all the time. He doesn't always do that, but there's a lot of times where he does. But he's killing it with his movies. I mean, it's amazing to behold. I've been a fan of The Rock since the 90s. I saw when he came out as Rocky Maivia, I remember. And I saw him evolve when he was in Nation of Domination and all that. I love The Rock, just a big, big fan. I also I have his shoes, not his new shoes, not the Rock ones. I have the Rock Deltas, which were the previous models that now those are completely gone. You can't even buy those anymore. But I love those. So I feel like with The Rock that when he does put his name on something, he really wants to make sure there's some fucking quality with it. I mean, and that's why I think he's so popular, especially today. It's because unlike a whole shit ton of other people, there's a lot of authenticity with The Rock. That's what made him big in the wrestling business. And I think it's making him big really kind of everywhere else now that he has his chops and he has confidence in what he's doing. I mean, it's funny, especially with the acting career, right? however many years, 15 years ago, right? I mean, remember when The Scorpion King came out? I mean, The Rock was kind of considered a joke with his movies, even though I think he's made fantastic films. What was the one, The Rundown that he did? And was it Standing Tall or Walking Tall? I love that movie, even though it's about a cop. But regardless, I think he's always done very well. I love The Scorpion King. The Mummy movie series of movies is one of my favorites of all time. But I mean, understand at the time, people considered him a joke. Now, Forbes is putting him on the cover of their magazine saying this is, the biggest actor of his day. Well, there it is. It wasn't that way 10, 15 years ago, but it is now. And good for him. And I'm glad that he's doing this. And I'm happy to put, I mean, with all the smiles he's put on my face, and he has a lot of them, either in wrestling or wherever else. Happy to give him a little support, and like I said, I personally, and I'm very careful to do this sort of thing. I really do believe in his products. I think that he really puts it out there, and he won't put his name on something that genuinely is shit. That may not always be true, but right now that's how I feel about it. So anyway, that's it. There's your review of the Under Armour Sport Wireless Train Project Rock Edition headphones from The Rock himself. And I recommend them. If you're willing to pay the price for them, I think that they are worth it. And especially if you're a weightlifter or a bodybuilder, whatever you want to run with that, these really do the job, and they are uniquely for us. For us, guys, gals, these monsters that engage in that act. Lots of just great stuff. So I don't know if I'd give them like a out of 10 rating, because I don't have a whole lot of other headphones to compare it to for reasons that I described. But I recommend them, bottom line. So there we go. More content to come out for July, even though I know we're close to the end of it here. But there is more stuff to come out. Great episodes already recorded. And we'll wrap it up with that. I will see all of you on the other side.